Right. Welcome guys, back to NZ Marko Kustoms. My name is Bill. Um, I just look a little bit like Glenn. I just haven't got the beard. Just kidding. You can tell the missus is home, aren't you? And she attacked me. She thought I looked a bit woolly. I must agree, I was a little bit woolly. I wasn't planning on trimming it back this far. But, you know, happy wife, happy life, apparently. So anyway, this morning, or today, I'm going to try and get any last little bits and pieces cleaned up and sorted. That I want to put a little bit of 2-pack primer on. I think I am through anything that really significantly matters. I think anything else I should better just pick up with a little bit of etch or something like that, and then if I do happen to want to 2-pack it, I don't think it'll be a piece that's seen, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I think I'm through almost fucking everything. Like the stuff in the headlight brackets, that can be just etched and rattle can black or whatever, it doesn't really matter inside there. It's not seen, it's just a bit of protection so it doesn't rust like it did. Lots of little pieces, you know, there's probably an odd little piece like that still to be done, but most of it's, I think I'm on top of most of it. Actually at the moment I'm just trying to panel beat these nut things, the caps. They got like a little pressed steel cap that's pushed on there. I don't know if you can see, there's like a seam there, kinda. So I'm just trying to knock the worst of the damage out of these. This one here was sort of pushed in a little bit, so I pushed that back out and sort of flattened it off. And this one here was actually pushed out, but it also had a couple of dirty, funny marks in it. So I'm just trying to see if I can at least improve, because I think if I get that cap off there, I don't think I'd ever get it back on, if you know what I mean. So I'd rather not push it right off, but if I can just improve the situation, then I may, if I have to, because I've got to mix up a little bit of body filler for that piece I made for the spare wheel carrier. I might better just smear a little bit over there to not clean it, hide the worst of the other marks in it. So yeah, just to tidy it up, because it's, you know, one of those sort of ornamental pieces on the end of the car. You know, it'd be nice for it to look nice, not beaten up and bent. But I think I'm at the point where I can paint whatever, or at least get some primer on the bits that are going to be seen. That matters. So yeah, I started off throwing a sheet on there. I will sort the back of it out a bit later. I just want to, I'd pull that bracket, everything off the back, so I can clean those nuts and little brats up. So yeah, I sprayed last night before I left. I meant to I keep forgetting to make it like a, I really need to make it like an ending video each day, thanking you guys, but I just sometimes you sort of forget, and then like I'll get to the end of a video and the ending that I did like just doesn't work, because it was like halfway through the day before or something stupid, unless I know I'm sort of up to date, and then I can sort of fill it in. But yeah, so I've painted those brackets, and I painted that with just rattle can. I was going to 2-pack it, but I thought it's in the engine bay, and it's easy to touch up if I need to with rattle can at some point, if you know what I mean, like if it ever needs to be done. I don't know, it's 1.5 dozen the other, really, to paint it with 2-pack in the engine bay. It would probably be okay. We'll see. So yeah. But yeah, there's like all these little pieces. There's not a lot to actually prime though, either. There is, but there's not. It's nothing. There's not a lot of big stuff, apart from The only thing that's, well, big is the fuel tank. Well, there's a dip head, like that's only, I'm only really going to put, will I put a coat of primer on that? I might just do a quick flicker primer on that. That really, again, really only needs a quick flicker primer. Is it worth priming? Yeah, probably. We'll just give it a half reasonable couple of light coats, just so it's reasonable and it's got an even coverage, and then we can give it a light scuff and paint it, you know, in a few days' time when we know that we are ready to do everything else, because I will have to do a little bit of final cleanup on these stuff, you know, a little bit of etch on bits and pieces that need to be etched, wipe down, clean down, wash down, whatever, you know, mask the body out where it needs to be really covered up, so I can just puff in there with a little bit of black where it needs to be, because it's really only that spot. Don't trip myself up. You've got a little piece there to touch up. It's mainly just that Moore's batch. The rest of that will clean off. There's a patch back here that needs a bit, and I think everything else is okay. I don't think there's anything else. And the probably only other things is, I thought I painted these. I thought I did. Yeah, I don't think I have. But yeah, we might just puff a bit of black over these, give them a wee edge. Give everything a clean up, wee bit of edge over top, you know, if it gets a wee bit of, and then just re-flick it black. So if I mask out the rest of the body, I'll just flick those bits. Because I'm going to have to do those at the kingpins. Stub axle parts anyway. So get those. There's a couple of little spots on there. Thought there was a spot back here too, maybe. But yeah, it's just a couple of bits and pieces like that that need done. That's about all that's on the chassis. Yeah, and then just these bits and these bits to paint, and yeah, just double check and see if I've missed anything else. I think I've got everything sorted. I think I've got everything else sorted. That really critically matters. There'll be the odd. I think I painted most of the brake parts, but there might be a couple of rods and linkages that might need a little spruce at some point. But we can just flick it with some rattle can. Oh yes, we've got those couple of bits and pieces down there. But that can all be just rattle can stuff. I don't think it'll matter much. You know, a couple of little bits and pieces like that that will need a tart up. But like I said, yeah, rattle can will be fine. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything else that really needs it. I'm pretty sure I'm through everything. The only other thing that things are going to need painted is the new rims for the wheels when we finally get them. But we're just going to use these ones in the meantime, the ones that we've got here. But they've been repaired a lot. I've said that way back in videos. They've had quite a bit of repair, so that's why we're getting some new bands, I guess you'd call them, wheel rims. But they're coming from the other side of the world. But yeah, these will do to just test the vehicle and get it out of my hair. Yeah, and I think everything else should be fine. I don't think there's anything else to paint. Unless I happen to screw something up, polishing something with the stuff that I've still got to repolish. I just happen to screw something up there. But yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I'll clean those nuts up so I can prime them too. I'll probably, I don't know, we'll see. We may prime some stuff this afternoon. Just give it a couple of coats, light coats. But yeah, I'll sort of get everything else prepared, mix up that little bit of body filler for that spare wheel base and those nuts and stuff like that. So I'll get into it. Right, so these were quite damaged. I don't know if you can remember. I can't. It's very awkward to get into sort of that corner to knock that out. But this was quite badly damaged. It's not too bad now. And this one here is pretty good. Like I can just about paint that and not worry about it. A couple of coats of primer and just a little sand back, and you won't even know that that one had a punch and had a dent in the middle of it. You can see a couple of reminiscences of the mark where it used to be, if you know what I mean. I just punched it out with a couple of punches from in behind and just sat on the that flat surface, that vice there. And there was what I cleaned up the other day. Just used a couple of just normal pin punches. I just punched it, the worst of what I could get out, back out. So yeah, we'll probably just put a little bit of, I'm going to mix up a little bit of that filler to do that other piece. I'll just smear a little bit on there and we'll just round it off and make it look the best we can. You know, it's not really obvious that it's got a bit of damage. So I'm going to go sandblast these now along with those other bits, or media blast them. Get the surfaces prepped up nice, and we'll give them a quick coat of each. Let that dry off, and then we'll put a little bit of body filler in there, and the same with the other piece. We'll give them a cool wee light scuff before we put the body filler in, so we'll get that done. Righty, so while I'm waiting on that body filler to harden up, or a little bit of glazing putty and whatever, and getting ourselves half ready for spray a bit of primer around, good time to pull the old spray gun apart. This is my primer gun. It's 1.8mm modified to 2mm. So yeah, it's like everything else. Yeah, I would like to upgrade some spray guns, but because I haven't had that dodge here and got that big influx of extra cash, I haven't done any of that yet. I'd like to get a 2.5mm tip for this gun, needle and tip and whatever. The gun seems to work fine, but yeah, I think if I can get a 2.5mm, it'll just help put down that thick high build nicely. Hopefully the next car too, I'm going to totally change brands of paint and try something else to get a feel for something else. What I'm going to go for yet, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I want to try something else, go away from the this autothane and PPG product, and just try something else, see what else works, and hopefully I can get myself a better top coat gun for my clears and primers, clears and colours and whatever else. You know, and get a couple of, get like I said, a 2.5, that's 2.5 for this, so I can really pour on that high build. It's actually funny, I don't normally watch Bad Chad now because I just, as much as he's creative, just some of the shit he builds is just, I like thinking outside the box, but some of this shit's just weird. It is, it's really weird. It's not to say that he's a bad fabricator, but just sometimes you just look at his ideas and you think, what the fuck are you building? Everyone's got different ideas, I guess, but yeah, just sometimes it's nice to be different, but yeah, I don't know, it's just some of the stuff's weird. But anyway, I hadn't watched any of his stuff for a while, and I flicked on and watched the other day when he was priming whatever was left of that Jag with that funny little frickin', almost looked like a weird ute roof with a little frickin' hatchback thing on the back of it. It was just strange, and he mixed up that whole gallon of high build. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, right. But yeah, the Evercoat feather fill, I haven't used it, but apparently once you mix the hardener into it, it's got a really fucking short pot life. It's like 35 minutes. A lot of them, I think that autothane is 45 minutes, so you get an extra 10 minutes to use it. And I'm spraying it through a 2mm, and I can put it on reasonably quickly, but it's still not great through that. But I know that feather fill's pretty fucking thick, and if you're going to mix up a gallon and then try and spray it through 1.4, no fucking way, how are you going to get that on quick enough? I don't know why he did that. It was a bit of a dick move, to be honest. It was, yeah, a bit weird. So yeah, I'm just giving the gun a soak. I'll give it a quick scrub through. I know that I originally would have, when I finished painting this last time, I would have given it a blowout and a clean out and whatever. But I just want to make sure it is going to spray fine when you mix primer and shit like that. So yeah, that was funny the other day. I just pissed myself laughing. Yeah, I've never mixed up that much paint in one hit. Unless you knew that you could really smash it on, and you had like, if you had a 2.5mm gun, and you hit 2 of them, and both of you were using them, like, yeah, fine. You probably would have got it on, because it would have been going on, almost twice as fast as what it would be with a 1.4. Well, the 1.4 is small compared with a 2.5mm or something like that. It's just way too small to be having a decent go at it, frickin' mixing a whole gallon. It was a bit of a weird. Why he did that, I don't know. But you know what I mean. But yeah, just can't quite fathom why he did that. Yeah. 35 minutes is not a lot of time. You're spraying through a 1.4, so you don't do that. Learn from this mistake. It was a bit silly. Not quite sure why I did that, but anyway. Alright, I'll get this quick reassemble and we'll just blow a bit of thinners through it and just make sure we have got a nice, the fan's fine. Yeah. Funny. Anyway. Righty, I just sanded those 2 bits back. And then I just gave them a quick re-etch just to get a quick shot of what they are, because I've got very, very little 2-pack primer left. Like, there's enough to give, well, it's probably enough to give these pieces a couple of coats that need it. But I'm not, once I've mixed that, I'm not going to have anything left at all. I'm basically out. So yeah, this car, I think I've used 3 gallons or 12 litres of primer on all these bits and pieces that we've done for this car. So it's amazing where it disappears, and it's the small stuff that really frickin' soaks it up. Anyway, so yeah, I just gave that a quick re-etch so I can have another bit of a look at it and maybe give it another sand, just in case there's anything there I want to re-attack or just any other bad marks. So I'll just give that a quick, and I might give it another wee sand with, I just gave it a quick rough back with 80. It may get another one, and then just give it another wee freaking etch, just so I can make sure it's close to being reasonable. Because once I get the high build on it, we're going to be, you know, what's on it, it's on it, and you know, it's as good as it's going to get, if you know what I mean. Because I'm not going to go buy another freaking gallon of high build to do it. And I flicked there that nut too, so whatever one it was, that one, I think, yeah. Oh, I need to get it a little bit more. You can see where I've sanded it off, but missed it a bit, but yeah. So I just wanted to give them a quick touch with some etch so I could at least see whether I need to just do a little bit more before I do put some high build on. Might give it another scuff with the 80 and just then give it another wee hit once it's dried a wee bit longer. Yeah, just so we know when we're putting the high build on, we're as good as we're going to get. I don't want to muck around too long. A lot of it's not sort of seen too much. It's in one of those spots you're not going to be really looking at it, but I just want it to look reasonable. So it doesn't stand out. It's got freaking big ugly holes and shit. Like we filled most of them, so we're not bad. We'll give it another wee rub back and maybe get another wee etch, and then yeah, we'll see. We'll probably start priming after lunch, I think. Just trying to get some temp up here so that panels stay warmish, they're not cold now, you know what I mean, they're starting to come up to temp, so we'll just keep that down at a reasonable temperature, probably over lunch, and then these should be pretty good. The only thing I'm going to do now is just give these all a light rub with a bit of 220, just so the surface has got a key on it, since most of it's been sprayed. These had only been sprayed like within the last 24 hours or 3 or 4 hours sort of type thing, I wouldn't panic. But we'll just give them all a light rub with a bit of 220 before we do spray primer on. So I'll start giving them the bits that I know that it's good, a sand, and yeah, we'll go from there with those other couple of bits. Right, I gave all these a sand with 220. I've tried to set everything up a little bit better. Got the tail light housing up on a little bottle and those up on a couple of little paint lids. Hopefully they don't blow off. Taped up the threads on that and the opening into the tank, and everything else. I gave that quite a good sand with the 220, and I've just given it another thickish coat with some etch just to have another quick look and just see, and then I'll give another light sand with the 220 ready to prime. And you know, in a wee while, once it's had a bit of a chance to cure off a bit more, give it a few more minutes. I want a long spray. The edge goes off pretty quick, and its temp's starting to come up quite nicely in here now. So, but yeah, I think it's as good as it's going to get. Now with a couple of coats of high build on it, it'll be even better. So it's not bad now. I'm pretty happy. Again, it's one of those spots you're not looking at a lot, so it's not as though it's the side of the car or a fender or something like that. You know, it's like holding a spare wheel on the back, but I still want, you know, you still want to be able to walk past it and look nice. You know, from a reasonable glance, if you know what I mean. So that's cool, and yeah, we'll just let that go off a bit longer. We'll give it a wee rub back, and we might even get some primer on this before lunch. We'll just see. We'll see how the time goes. I want to give that at least another 20 minutes. So yeah, we might prime after lunch. We'll just let everything hang and just sit and settle and whatever, and maybe come up a little bit more in temp. We'll just leave that on. I'll just set the thermostat about, I don't know, 15 or 16 degrees C, and we'll just try and keep it out in here. So it's a little cool, but it's not bad for, you know, temperature. Because I don't want it to be what I'll do. We'll just give these things a good chance to equalise in temperature. And we should be able to spray all the stuff after lunch with a couple of 3 coats probably. Just depends on whatever what's left in this tin goes. There's not a lot left in there. Not a lot left in there at all. I have had to open and give it a bit of a stir just to see what was in there. Obviously I've mixed, but you know, there's not a lot left in there. There's probably a by the time we pour it in the paint gun, now with a bit of thinners and the hardener and stuff, now we'll get the majority of a pot, which will be plenty, really. Like, it's not as though the fuel tank's critical that it's super high gloss or anything. It's only going to be satin black, so you know, as long as it's got a decent coat on it, then we'll just spray the satin black over the top. So we'll just close it back up. I just gave it a good stir before, just to give it a bit of a run round, so when we do give it a decent mix up later on, it's ready to go. So yeah, we'll just let that paint go off. They each go off a little bit longer and we'll give it a sand. Alrighty, so we've got a bit of primer on now. I've still got a bit in the gun. I'll just let this, I've given this sort of 2 fairly good coats, most of it. So I'll just let it flash off for a bit. The fuel tank, I sort of painted one side, and because it's a bit more heat from that side, then I tipped it the other way, because it's reasonably dry down the bottom, and then I just flipped it across the bottom, so I'll roll it back again when we do another couple of lighter coats. And hopefully these will dry off a little bit, these little pieces, and I'll just flip them up the other way. Not that it's critical, you know what I mean, but it'd be nice to turn them up the other way, so at least they have a little bit of primer on them, because they obviously go on the insides of those handles, on the inside of the hood sides. We'll smash another couple of, another good amount of product on these lights. But yeah, we'll just use whatever's in the gun. Basically everything's had a couple of good coats, so they've cut from obviously the bottom spots of that tank, but yeah. Basically we had about the perfect amount left, really. You know, I probably could have painted a couple more little bits and pieces, but we'll try and do another couple of little bits and pieces, but you know, another couple of coats on some of these pieces that are seen won't hurt. I'll just give us a little bit more material to stand off and smooth off and whatever, and we'll be good. I did throw a couple extra sheets on some of the bits and pieces. I didn't worry about the sides too much, like, you know, the drift that's hanging down won't be too bad. It's going to have another clean and another bit of a polish up, you know, and another wax, whatever, near the end of it. I just try to cover anything that was hanging down, and I covered most of these panels up the best I could with whatever I had, you know. Like these sides and that are going to have a wash and a cut and polish, so it's not too bad. I'm just trying to keep the worst of the shit off, if you know what I mean. So yeah, let these flash for another few minutes and then we'll give them another hit. That's cool. We're getting really close to being done on this fucking thing. Just really nice to have these last little bits and pieces back so we can really throw this thing together. But anyway, we'll see you again shortly. Right, so the gun's stripped down, and everything has had basically I got about a third of coat on it, a couple of extra bits, got an extra bit of a puff over it, but that's about it. So yeah, I had basically the perfect amount of high build primer for this car, which was 12 litres or 3 gallons. That's what I used on it. So yeah, everything should be good. We'll let that cure up, and yeah, we'll give them a sand later on, like probably, I don't know, probably won't be tomorrow, but you know, in a day or two, whatever. Hopefully we're good, and then get them ready for the final workout, what we're going to do for colour. You know, on like, you know, which black we're putting on where. I think the bulk of it will be gloss. Well, yeah, it's one half fucking dozen the other, to be honest. See where it goes. Like, we might end up just being all gloss, to be honest, because you know, it's not worth mixing up such a tiny amount. We might end up, these might just end up white gloss. It's, yeah, it's probably the easiest way to do it. Just trying to think. Oh, we do have the pieces. What we might do is, do the, semi-gloss first, because we'll have to mask up and do the little bits and pieces on this because of the chassis semi-gloss. Well, it's meant to be semi-gloss. Yeah, so we can do the bits that are meant to be semi-gloss, and then yeah, we'll just put a wee splash of, put an extra bit of, if we've only got a little bit left, might put a little bit of, just mix a little bit of the gloss in with it, if you know what I mean. Just if we've only a little bit left, we'll try and mix as small amount as possible. Yeah, we'll try and get it to a small amount, yeah, and then we'll flicker just a little bit of gloss in with it, and then it'll be a, almost a gloss, and we should be able to polish these things up anyway. Anything that needs to be shiny, it'll polish up anyway. So yeah, that'll do. That's about all I can do. But yeah, we are almost done. Alright, we'll see you after, later on. Alrighty, so welcome back again. So it's actually really quite warm tonight, which is weird. Got a lot of wind from the north. So I'm going to take the opportunity while it's warm, try and get the black done. I wasn't going to do it today, but I think because the opportunity is here and the temperature's actually good, but it's not real hot, but it's good. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the bits on the body where I need to do a little bit of misting in, and mask off, not on the body, but the chassis, get those bits prepped and clean. Same with all the stuff that are primed yesterday. So we'll get the stuff prepped, washed down, half, might flick a little bit of edge around spindles and bits and pieces like that. And hopefully while the temperature's still up, as long as it doesn't really shit itself and get cold, we'll get the black on the stuff, all the stuff like sand, and spray it all, I think. Well and truly on the way to the final assembly, really. Right, so all the bits that I want to touch up or paint over some of the pieces that I already painted on the chassis, like the shackles for the springs in the front and the kingpins and whatever, and a couple of little spots on the chassis. I'll go around and clean them all with a bit of brake cleaning and wax and grease remover. Gave them a quick scuff back with this, just gave them a quick rub over and make sure that they are a bit of a scuff up. So now I'm going to go around and I'm going to mask all the areas that I don't, mainly the body, mask the body back out a bit, and feel way back and up, and then hopefully the sheet will cover the rest. I'm not going to be sitting there fucking blowing it on real hard. Most of the pieces will just be just a gentle puff enough to colour it back up and make disappear what disappears when we do paint the rest black, all these other bits black. So all this will be all the satin, or low sheen, or low gloss, whatever you call it. So yeah, I'll get all this stuff masked out, and then I'll give everything else a rub back. So I'll get this masked out, and then I'll just show you what I'm doing, if you know what I mean. Right, that's one side sorted, and I've just given the stub axle piece and the hanger a quick wee flick with some etch, just to let that dry while I'll mask this other side out now. Kind of show you what what I did. If I can. Alrighty, so I've got everything scuffed, sanded. Like I use like the Scotch Brite to do the dip head, and they come other funny pieces, but the rest of it I sanded with 400. So I'm just going to give these a prep wipe and reorganise and just get them all situated where I'm happy. And we'll mix up a bit of satin. And we'll hit, I don't know if I'll hit everything, but I might just give maybe the lights and a couple of pieces, just like a one coat with that, just as a base, and then when we do the, I'll mix up a touch of gloss, we'll hit that stuff again, if you know what I mean. Right, I was just looking at the cup and just trying to work out how much I want to mix out. So I just think the first graduation for 4:1 is 150 mils with, you know, roughly the right amount of paint hardener and reducer, which in this gun is about here. I just think it's a little light for what I need for the satin. That might be okay for the gloss. Probably not really going to be okay for the gloss. I would like less than that, but we'll just see where we go. We might go just, I've only got a little bit of paint left, like it's only a touch. I might just add a little bit of gloss on top, like I said. But I just don't think 150 mils is going to be enough. But I don't think I really want 300, which is the next step. Where are we? So 300 is the next step. So what I've done is I've gone halfway in between with obviously your paint, your hardener, and then your thinners. I'll put a mark halfway in between each mark, roughly. And I'm going to mix it up to here. So I'm going to have 1.5 of the steps on this. Just so I'll get in out with just a little bit over 200, 220-ish, thereabouts. Yeah, probably could have got away with mixing the 300, just the 2 steps. With a little bit up on that diff. I just want to turn that tank, get the other side a bit better at the bottom. But apart from that, we're good to go. We're just going to mix the gloss. And it's warm in here. The brake oven's working nicely. Yeah, so I've got down here done. Down there's puffed in. Same with those bits. If it's a bit bare on the other side, I'll just hit it with a little bit of rattle can at some point, just to touch it up. If I'm underneath, I can just give it a little puff, won't matter. They're all sorted. That's sorted. That one's sorted. A bit of blue that was down here, that's gone. The little bit that was in there, that's gone. So, I just basically blew a bit of the satin on that. I don't know whether it will be the inside or the outside, doesn't really matter, but a little bit of satin on the other side of those so I can flip them over once it sort of dried off. Coloured a lot of this stuff up so it was a bit easier to cover. When I mix up a small amount of the gloss. So that's done. That when it dries a little bit more. Yeah, I've got to almost turn it now. I'll just give it a couple more minutes, we'll turn that, we'll just spray the other bottom part of that. I've got a little bit to do around the diff. That should be good. I might give it another puff over, but if I get anything left, and all the rest of these will be redone with the gloss. So basically I just used the satin just to give us a bit of colour underneath, just so I don't need to put so much over top, if you know what I mean. And I don't have to worry about mixing so much up. But yeah, so we're almost done. Yeah, so I'll give that tank a couple more minutes and we'll turn it around and then we'll mix up some gloss and we'll spray that stuff. I'll give the gun a quick, I'll probably put a wee bit of thinners through it. I really want to get rid of that gun. It's okay for doing shit like this, but it annoys me. Sometimes it gets a good pattern, and the next time you spray it, you seem to struggle. So yeah, I'd like to get an FLG5 DeVilvis or Pro Light or something like that, or something else that's sort of similar sort of quality. Just get a half decent gun. And just use that for maybe paint the odd bit of crap that doesn't really matter, like a few undercarriage pieces and that. We'll just leave that gun for that, just to spray with that shit occasionally. I don't know, just for some reason sometimes it wants to spray good and the next time it doesn't. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to want to put much material on it, Weird. That's why I thinned it down a couple of times. I think it's 1.3. Maybe I want by 1.4. I don't know. It's weird. It could be this paint. I don't bloody know. You know what I mean? For some reason, it just doesn't seem to like me every now and again. Anyway, I'll turn this tank over in a second and we'll spray a bit more colour on, and I'll probably come back when I'm starting to put the gloss on. I think we are good. I just did spray a couple of those other bits and pieces just from a distance again. But yeah, these pieces all look good. This is good. So yeah, we'll let them cure off over lunch and come back and demask any little bits and pieces that I've got masked. And yeah, go from there. Work out what I'm going to do next. Because I can't really assemble this stuff. No, I'll give it a day or two to dry like it is Friday. So when I come back in the morning, you know, that's why I thought I'd muck around with that. Maybe the flywheel and stuff like that with the motor. Put the flywheel and clutch on it. See how we get on over there. I might have to lift the motor. We'll see. Yeah, and I can probably put the brackets on for the plug wires. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there, because you might have to do the plug wires, feed them first and get all the links, and then put all that bracketry and that tube on. But at least we can get the flywheel and clutch on, and the little pilot bearing in the back of the flywheel wherever it goes, and get all that in and set and ready to go. As long as we can get that release bearing back here, I have to go see those guys. Fucking tell them to fucking hurry up. And then I can put the motor and box together, and they'll just give this shit 2 or 3 days to harden up, so I can assemble it and start putting it all on. And then it's really only really a matter of wiring. After we've got it all back together, you know, I've got a bit of polishing to do and whatever, but at least I can actually get a lot of this shit on it. Well, all apart from, you know, there's little handles and stuff, but once we've polished the sides up, you know, they can probably be assembled and whatever. But yeah, anyway, we'll catch you after lunch. Righty, so I'm back here to unmask this stuff, and I said a quick look at these bloody things, and I thought, oh yeah, they look sweet. Like, absolute motherfucker. So I'm fucking gonna have to re-spray them. I think everything else should be okay. Also, some of our stuff turned up for so that's for the grill shell. I'm guessing that must be the windscreen rubber seal, I think. That's the plug lead wires, which is not the colour I thought it was. I thought it was that like creamy yellow sort of colour, but more like, you know, you see a lot of the plug wires used to be like. It's a freaking strange colour, that. Okay, because it was either red or like a yellowy colour, and I thought it was like, you know, when they said yellow, it was like that sort of creamy yellowy colour. That's one thing I hate about fucking buying shit online. At least when you walk into somewhere, you can fucking see what you're looking at. That's for the ball bending, and that must be bits for the plug leads. And I think that might be the rivet bits that hold the webbing on the cowl too. So yeah, but yeah. Rightio, anyway, so that's some bits for that. So we're still waiting on obviously the wiring line kit. I'll just unmask that, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna spray it silver on the inside. Once it's hardened up, in a couple of days' time, I will mask it on the outside of it, and I'll spray it with just that rattle can silver, that stuff. So it's a bit more reflector. You know, like use that shit on the inside. But I won't, yeah, definitely won't do that today. So yeah, I'll have to have a quick double check of everything else. Just make sure I haven't missed any other places, since I'm going to have to frickin' mix up a little bit of extra fucking paint. It's a bit of a pain, but shit happens. Shit happens. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, and I'll probably go... Oh, fuck, I might get away with that too. It's still... If I frickin' clean my gun up, that might be enough. Maybe. Like, I've only been away an hour. It's not ideal, but it might be enough. Yeah. Anyway, so I might quickly do that. Because it's fresh enough that it'll bite in. Not ideal, like after an hour, but at least it hasn't been done like for 2 or 3 days and then realise. So you might just throw the gun back together and have a go at doing that. I might do that while I realise that paint's still... Looks like it's still running enough. I could put just a wee splash of reducer in there if I have to. Might do that and we'll come back to you. Well, how lucky was that with that little bit of paint? I put a wee splash of thinners in and just gave it a wee mix. I just gave these another couple of coats. I just pulled these over this edge so I could really blow in there. And the rest would just get another couple, just a couple of light coats over, just enough to make it wet. And I reflicked these pieces too because I had a good look around them and just made sure they were covered well, and there was a couple of drier edges on them, so I turned them around to where the bad spots were out and reflicked all that stuff. And I think I gave these handles a quick reflick too, just up here and then back over the top, just on the outsides, just to make sure, because I held a couple out and looked like they might have been just a little dry in a couple of areas because they're hanging down, sort of awkward. So I just held them out and had another wee quick look at all them and at all the stuff, to be honest. And just redid the handles with what was in the gun. So yeah, worked out perfectly. So yeah, we'll leave them alone. I won't touch them. So yeah, I'll demask this now. And yeah, we might what are we gonna do? Apart from have a clean up, we might get at least organised to get the flow oil on. Get that over there and just work out whether I can put it on where it's sitting, whether I have to move it out on across the bench a little bit or something stupid, because I'm not sure. We'll have a wee look. I think it might be just a bit close in. I might have to jiggle it out just so I can get the flow oil on. No, it might be right. Might be right. It might hit here though. It might hit the vice, but we'll see. It's out enough, I think. It's out enough. All good. All good. Righty. Actually, I might have to put on... You'll have to put on the bow housing, won't I? Yes. Put that on first. So yeah. Anyway, I'll demask all this stuff. Oh, I might make the end of the since the fucking power just went out. I'm not surprised with the wind. Yeah, it's unusually warm for this time of year. Like I'm, t-shirt on. Yeah, it's not cold in here at all. I think it's about 20 degrees C. Like we would normally still be struggling to get, even 10. But it's, you get that north, if you get some of those strong north winds, it'll warm up. But yeah, not normally in August, not normally around this time of year. Like it's, it happens occasionally, but it has been quite warm the last couple of days, so. But anyway, yeah, I don't know when the power's going to go on, so not that I really need it, but just, if I happen to need it, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I'll just come back in the morning and tackle it for a couple of hours, and we'll get that clutch and shit on that motor. Just be nice to have a powerful one. So yeah, I've demasked this thing. It's pretty windy. But anyway, yeah, so I've demasked it all. What I needed masked. Actually, frickin' I've completely forgot about it. I've got a wee chip up here, which I think might have happened at the windscreen got put in. Not 100% sure, but yeah, I actually meant to find a little frickin' paintbrush and just put a wee dab of paint on there, but I can do that at any time. I got plenty of paint left I can do that with. Just on like a little paintbrush, which I'll do at some point to fix that. But yeah, no, it looks quite good. That'll give me, I'll give those a chance to dry off anyway and not disturb them. Same with those other couple of bits over there. But you demasked all that. Come up good. I'm happy with that result. You know, by the time we give everything else a good scrub, it'll all blend back in. You know, and you're not seeing fucking most of it anyway. It's just a matter of principle, you know. Nothing worse than climbing underneath the car and you can see a couple of frickin' bits of primer and shit and wherever, and you know, that was a couple of little spots where we scuffed it really, you know, and then obviously we just didn't quite have enough masking, and the masking wasn't quite in the right place underneath when we sprayed the blue. You know, you can see a lot of polish still stuck in the jams and stuff like that. That all needs a bloody good scrub and clean, you know, and then we will probably wax and whatever afterwards. But yeah, actually I just remembered I've got to make these fucking things. I haven't made them yet, but so I have to organise and make them at some point shortly. Yeah, that's not a biggie, but they need to be made and painted. I just thought about it then. That's alright. We can sort that. It's not a biggie. But yeah. A bit of a pain, but I was kind of half expected with all this freaking wind. I was wondering when the power was going to go out next. But yeah. It's all good. We've demasked. Everything looks good now. Happy with those bits. I got those couple bits sorted. So yeah, it was worth coming back down here and doing that. You know, catching that while the paint was still fairly fresh. So yeah, I just misted a light coat on there, went around and touched, you know, did everything, had a look at everything else. You know, gave those handles that quick mist and whatever, and then come back. You know, about a minute later or so, whatever, just gave that bit of a light mist coat, and then a bit of a chance to bite back into the fresh paint, and then gave it a couple of wet ones, or another wet one, and then walked away for a few minutes, and then did another wet one. So yeah, we saved that. Like, it's no biggie. Wouldn't have mattered if I had to mix up a bit more paint and give it a wet sand and freaking a quick paint. Well, that is what it is. It is what it is. Doesn't matter. But it's sorted. So yeah. So anyway, I'll call it here for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell, hit those notifications. Leave a comment. Please leave a comment. It'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, and we'll see you in the next video, which, you know, we'll start tomorrow, and we'll get the flywheel and the clutch and the bow housing on the motor at least. Get that sorted, get that bolted up, and then yeah, I'm going to hand the frick out of those guys Monday, or even maybe tomorrow morning, before I come down here and get that fucking clutch bearing in its housing, so I can put the fucking thing together. Because yeah, I can put that together, get the motor and box in it, you know, and we can start getting the shit off the floor. You know, I can pull it. But the balances are basically ready to go. They probably just need a clean and a wipe and put on. You know, the rear fenders and that are going to be wet sanded and buffed and put on. Bits and pieces like that gets those on there. You know, we can put the rear balance on, we can put the fuel tank in. You know, a lot of those bits and pieces we can put on. We can still got to put hard lines and stuff in, but that's still another little job to do. But you know, it's not I wouldn't say it's a big thing, but you know what I mean. We need to get all the big stuff out of the road, and on, and then we can muck around with, you know, some fuel lines and a bit of wiring, and we can muck around with that stuff, you know, in another, whatever, you know, in a few days when we get some shot off the floor, so we can see if we can get this fucking Dodge in here. Righty, catch you later. Cheers, thanks for watching.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.